Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our edition of Online Longer, Online Stronger. I'm your host, Daytuan Antonetti, your Say Yes Community School Navigator from Frank Sedita Academy. Woo! Go Dragons! So today we have with us a very special guest. We have Miss Maureen Dempsey. She is our Public Affairs Officer with the FBI. So today Ms. Dempsey is going to talk to us a little bit about online safety and what that really means. So, Ms. Maureen, can you tell us a little bit about online safety?
Hi, Daytuan. It's good to see you. Yes, we are all online longer these days, and as a result, we want to make sure, as a family and a school district, and even as companies with employment, with workers at home, for all you parents out there, we want to make sure now that we're online longer that we are online stronger. And basically, it's kind of simple. We just want to make sure that we're using good cyber hygiene, which means kind of like washing our hands and doing all things to stay healthy. We want to use the same kind of hygiene online when we're entering websites. And those websites could be, when you're gaming or you're on YouTube, watching your favorite YouTuber, or if you're on your education technology and your students at home, which I have kids at home who are learning at home as well. We want to make sure that when you're doing your schoolwork online, you're also practicing that online safety. So we could talk a little bit about the social aspect of being online and also the educational portion of that. So I think the first thought I would have is if you're the parent of a younger person, maybe kindergarten through fifth grade, those kids may be online once in a while for YouTube, or maybe they're watching their older siblings who are using their online technology, but they're not used to being online to doing homework, right? They're not online every day doing schoolwork, getting into their Google Meets and trying to figure out how to do that type of education platform. So for parents, just like you would do if your kids were on social media, you would sit with them. You would oversee what they're doing, have their, the computer access to be right in front of you. And I think that what's daunting right now is a lot of parents are working from home. I know, Daytuan, you are, and I am. So I have 3 kids, elementary, middle school, and high school age. So it's hard for me to sit there with them and do my job at home. So I think that parents are having those issues as well. It's one thing at night to have social media issues with your kids and you're watching them, but when you have a job to do from home, it's a little bit trying for parents. So I get it. I get it. So I think with those younger kids, you just have to maybe allocate time periods. You can work with these kids online from 10 to 2, and try to work around your work schedule to do that. And that's a good suggestion just in general. Younger kids, you need to be with them. Older kids, your high schoolers, and I know, Daytuan, you have some older kids, that's conversation and communication. That's, hey, I know you're going to have maybe a Zoom call, or you're going to have a Google Meet call. And we've heard that, we've heard that on some of these platforms, there's been some video teleconferencing hijacking. So I know in Rochester it's happened where, students in a high school class were in a tech class, and it was reported in, the media that somebody was displaying video images, very inappropriate video images in the middle of the teaching session. So I think you need to prepare students, both young and old, for what might happen if they see something inappropriate online. One, definitely for all the younger kids, teach them how to use the back button. That's a tip that I learned on National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They had some great tips. If you go to the NECMIC site and you search for NetSmarts, and I know Mr. Daytuan will share that link with you, even for younger students, it taught a little bit about, hey, what if your younger student gets into an area and they see something that they know isn't appropriate? They just know it makes them feel sad, and it just doesn't make them feel right. Make sure they know how to navigate. Click that close button, power it off, hit the back button, and stop looking at it. Younger children, just teach them, stop looking at it. Older kids, make sure that maybe they report it, they share it, they communicate to their parents that it happened. If it's happening during school time, the school districts are aware of it, obviously. One thing I think I would be mindful of for everybody out there, whether you're an 8th grader, high schooler, or a parent, if that happens, don't jump right on Facebook and on social media and start guessing, what might have occurred and who did what, and did the teacher act inappropriately, or was there a student that hacked in, and kind of that whole thing, Daytuan, that we see a lot where people are speculating too early to find out what happened. So be responsible, just like we would be on, all of our platforms, whether it's Instagram or Snapchat, and don't start rumors. Don't guess about what might be going on with your education platforms. And those are the two pieces of advice that we've seen in the FBI the last couple weeks with education technology and kids working on their homework from home.
So now I know you spoke, you touched on Zoom, and, many of us have been using the Zoom platform right now to really, do our work and meetings and things of that nature. What are some other platforms that you might recommend that folks can use, being that Zoom has been bombed, a couple different times, with inappropriate footage and things of that nature. So what are some other platforms you might want to recommend?
That's a great question, Mr. Daytuan there. So we had that same question come up the other day when I talked to a reporter about this issue. And so the FBI, we try not to suggest, when it comes to companies and businesses, we try not to steer people to one or the other. We try to just give advice in terms of safety. So the answer I gave to that same question a day ago was, do your research like we would for everything. You're going to go on a vacation, or you're going to pick a school district, or you're going to pick a home, an apartment that you want to, apartment complex you want to live in. You would probably check out, do a little research. Same thing for your education and your employment. I think if you're working with a company, like for the FBI, we have parameters. We have to use certain platforms for security. And I think most companies are seeing that now. So whether you're an employee with a tech firm, you're getting that guidance from your employer. So the FBI wouldn't tell you to tell your employer which platforms to use, but maybe have those conversations with your supervision, with your management, about your concerns about not just inappropriate images or someone hacking in, but also from an employment standpoint, you don't want to have malware and viruses put into your computer systems. So we won't tell you which ones to use, but we will tell you, like we do for everything, do your homework, do a lot of research. There's a lot of tech sites out there that can talk about what are the most cyber safe virtual teleconferencing platforms. I know that the school districts are all over this right now, and they're trying to look into what would be the safest platforms to use with kids. So look for direction from your school districts, look for direction from your employers, and do your own homework, especially when it comes to having your own little conferences. So I know on Easter Sunday, for me, I have 6 brothers and sisters all over, and we wanted to get together. So we did do a teleconferencing call, and we all talked about what would be the safest and the best one to use. If you decide to do that, do not go onto Facebook and post to all of your brothers and sisters through Facebook, here's the link to our call that we're going to do on Sunday. Because posting links, public unsecure sites, are just inviting trouble. So little tricks like that, do that through a personal email, do that through a conversation. Same cyber hygiene that we talk about for everything in life is the same thing that should apply to this working from home, educating from home, being cautious, communicating with your children. Absolutely communicate with your employer, your concerns, and do your research, do your homework.
So now I know you mentioned earlier a little bit about Snapchat, and then we also have this TikTok. So can you tell us a little bit more about this? As a parent, I've heard about these apps, and I'm just not really familiar with them, but can you share with us a little bit more about both of those platforms?
So absolutely. Like I said, I have 3 kids, and I think that the FBI as a whole would tell you anytime that young people, old people, can connect through the internet, there's always a possibility that they're going to come in contact with what we would describe as a cyber actor or a cyber criminal, a cyber predator. So even, you young folks out there, we talk about being safe when you're out in public and when you go to the park or you're riding your bike in your community, in your neighborhood, and not talking to strangers. It's kind of the same thing. If you go on TikTok, you want to make sure that you're you're posting appropriate stuff because other people can see it. So you don't want to be inappropriate. Those videos will be out there for a long time. You don't want to cyberbully. I know we talk about that a lot, and you do with Say Yes. You don't want to cyberbully. You don't want to get on Snapchat and start, again, talking about rumors or kind of bullying people. But just from a parent's perspective, anytime your child can be on any of these social media platforms, they can have contact with people that are taking advantage of the fact that your kids are home a lot right now. Your kids are online a lot right now. So these cyber predators recognize that. And for them, it's all day long. They don't need to wait for kids to come home from school to be able to try to engage somebody on a gaming platform. I know gaming platforms are another problem. I don't think parents recognize that there are 7, 8, 9-year-olds who are on Fortnite playing gaming with their friends are also exposed to cyber predators that are out there who can also join in those gaming platforms. You have to check your security settings. You want to definitely check your children's profile. When they create a profile in Fortnite or on Snapchat, what profile name are they picking? What privacy information are they allowing other people to see? So check the privacy settings, check in on your kids, make sure if they're on TikTok, you're on TikTok. Make sure you can have conversations about who they're following. YouTube is another problem. You might know that a site is kind of an okay site. You have a child who's on a Lego site, for instance, and they're following their favorite Lego YouTuber. But sometimes what happens is hackers can get into the middle of those videos. So you kind of set them up, they're on their favorite YouTuber site, and you walk away for 20 minutes to make dinner. Well, there can be videos, imaging in between some of that video, that YouTube video, because they can get in and hack into that platform and put in images directly towards, directly to reach out to young people. So don't just start and walk away. I know it's hard because we're all home, we're all juggling a million things, but communication, awareness, preparation, security settings, when you're on these virtual teleconferencing sites, the other thing you could do is make sure you go down and make sure that your video teleconferencing software has been updated and it's current.
Now, can you also share with us, I know I've heard that for images and information that you post on Facebook can actually sometimes hurt you if you're applying for jobs and employment and things of that nature. Is that pretty much the same with TikTok and Snapchat?
Anything you ever post online, Mr. Daytuan, is possibly going to come back to haunt you. It doesn't matter if you think that it's just with a group of friends. If somebody in Snapchat, I know they feel like they post something in Snapchat and it disappears. But if somebody screen grabs that chat, that image, inappropriate image that they shared and they think it disappeared, if somebody did a screen grab of that, that's there for as long as that person has it, and it gets shared as widely as that person wants to share it. And kind of like this virus that we're seeing, you share it to one person, it could go to 2 to 4 and exponentially on and be there forever. We don't want to have those issues. Just be smart. It's hard. We're stuck at home and we're being silly maybe, and we want to chat with our friends. But, try to be smart. Pretend that when you're online, that your mom's watching, that Mr. Daytuan's watching, that your teacher is watching, and be mindful of that. Try to be really responsible when you're doing this online schoolwork and online social connections.
Now, because our children are home a lot longer, what are some recommendation game sites that you guys could possibly recommend for our children to tap into?
So the one I mentioned, I know it's hard. You have to make sure that anytime that they're connected to the internet, it doesn't matter if it's a well-known site that we know is okay, still have to monitor. So that goes without saying. In terms of education with your kids, if you have younger kids like K through 2, K through 5, middle school, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they have a really great website called, I think it's KidSmart, KidSmart.org or something. I have to go back and look and send you the link. But they have videos that are appropriate even for kindergarten and first graders to learn about cyber safety. They also have a gaming platform on there, so young people gaming. If if you really have young kids, I would go to pbs.org, things like that. That's what I did when my kids were little. Go to known sites, go to your education research, and determine which sites are most appropriate for your child level. Kind of like when you're going to the movies, you're letting them watch a Netflix movie. You would go to Common Sense Media or something like that and do a little research about what they want to watch or what gaming platforms they want to get on. And then, you really, again, it's time consuming, but as a parent, and even as an older kid, maybe helping your younger brother or sister, you want to watch out for what they're doing. If you're in high school, you're in middle school, you have a sibling at home and mom and dad are busy, you need to be that person that's making sure you're keeping track of what they're doing and finding their way. They shouldn't be watching the same kind of things you're watching as a high schooler. So help them find the most age-appropriate things that they should be involved in. And again, it's all about communication. It's all about oversight and doing your research.
Awesome. Oh, that was spectacular, Miss Maureen. You definitely gave us some very good, helpful hints and tips on what we should do and how we should definitely monitor what our children are watching. We are living in the informational stage, and things now are much different than when you and I were growing up. So definitely being more diligent and just watchful of what our children are watching, and kind of keeping an eye a little bit more closely, especially now while they have so much time on their hand to be able to just tap into their phones. As far as job opportunities, we do have many of our seniors that are still graduating this year. Are there any type of internships, or if they were interested in really learning more about the FBI, about how they can get involved?
Yeah, that's a great segue to something I wanted to end on, is your future, right? We're in strange times, and I want everyone to be healthy and everyone to be safe. But don't forget about the future. Don't get stuck in where we are. A lot of people have a little anxiety about what's going on, but look ahead. It's good to look ahead. It's good to plan ahead. Create those vision boards, and use this time while you're at home to maybe do some research about career choices down the road. You could go to FBI.gov. There's a lot of information out there about careers with the FBI. Use this time that you're developing your cyber skills to maybe plan to use those skills to be a computer scientist for the FBI someday, or to work in technology. There's a lot out there in terms of career choices. Even the FBI right now is still recruiting. We're still doing hiring. We're still recruiting. And a lot of people don't know about the FBI is a third of the employees at the FBI are agents, and then 2/3 are not agents. So there are a lot of career opportunities with the FBI that don't include just carrying a gun and arresting people. There's a lot of opportunities in cyber and counting, even community outreach, even automotive. We have a whole fleet of vehicles, so we hire people to fix our cars and work on our cars. There's a lot of job choices out there. So you can go to FBIjobs.gov to look kind of what you maybe want to do in the future. And then there's also just, a lot of companies right now are recruiting and putting out opportunities. There's a lot of free training. I know I saw a couple of different sites where they were doing free training for, how to use a camera, teaching platforms that maybe normally you have to pay for, but right now they're doing for free because they know people are home. So search a little bit, look at some career choices, and look for those free trainings and opportunities that you can take advantage of right now while we're at home and while they don't cost anything. So everybody stay safe. If you have questions, always call either the FBI, or you have tips to submit, call the FBI. If you have concerns, call your local law enforcement and reach back to your teachers, your communicators, the people that you use as mentors, and stay connected during this strange time in our history.
Awesome. Wow. So again, Ms. Maureen, thank you so much. This was very helpful and very insightful. I just wanted to reiterate that one website that you gave us earlier, which is netsmartkids.org. And folks, that's spelled NETSMARTZKIDS.org. So netsmartkids.org. So definitely check out that link there, and hopefully you can find some really good educational information for your children and for yourself, parents. So again, Ms. Maureen, we thank you. This was truly awesome time with you, and we definitely hope that we can get you back on for one of our future upcoming virtual programs. All right. Thank you so much.